Well, hello everybody. Today we're going to be looking at the Child's Play remake. Chucky is one of, if not the most iconic doll in horror. With many other movies trying to ride on the scary doll concept, none have stood out like Chucky did in the original Child's Play. With the great animatronics on Chucky and seeing how an innocent looking doll transformed into a sinister one, it effectively scared many people for many years. Later on, the series, mostly written and directed by Don Mancini, has gone into full comedic territory with Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky and tried to revert back to a more horror approach in the last two entries released straight to video. Before moving forward, I should note that I don't think Child's Play is a perfect movie and there's definitely room for improvement, so I'm totally open to a remake, and here we are in 2019 with this new remake. While there are so many remakes coming out these days, this one actually looked like it was doing something different than the original. To start, Chucky being a robot, Andy being older, and of course the design of Chucky being different as well. Quite frankly, if there was any horror movie franchise to pick to be rebooted, I would definitely choose Child's Play. After all these weird lackluster sequels that we got, there's definitely a chance to improve the original with today's technology. With Mark Hamill doing the voice of Chucky and Aubrey Plaza as Andy's mom, things seemed really promising for this remake. So did it work? Well, that all depends. Did you expect a horror comedy or a straight up horror movie? For me, it missed the mark on being the former, and I wouldn't even consider it a straight up horror movie because killer dolls don't scare me. I did like some of the changes this movie made to stand out from the original. It's definitely something more remakes these days should try to do. I like that it tried its hand as poking fun at all the smart technology around us like Alexa and Siri. The kid who played Andy did a pretty good job in his role, Aubrey Plaza did an alright job and had some funny scenes in the beginning, and Mark Hamill did an alright voice for Chucky. However, this movie is devoid of anything that could be considered scary. It relies solely on jump scares that are absolutely cheap and annoying. Yeah, I expected there to be some for Chucky appearing from behind with a knife in his hand, but then there's some that are just there to keep the viewer wide awake, just make sure that, hey, you're still awake, aren't you? The kills in this movie are ridiculously executed to the point where it's like E.T. is making a Final Destination film. I know how strange that sounds, but believe me, that's what it looks like in the movie. To its credit, there is some gore in that, and if you like gore, then yeah, that's for you. The first half of this movie had a pretty good build-up with Andy, his mother, and Chucky all getting acquainted with one another, especially with Chucky and Andy actually being buddies and getting to know one another. However, the movie spends a little too much time with this, that when the final act hits, it feels rushed. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the crew needed to wrap up fast and that they were under budgeted because the effects took an absolute nosedive on Chucky. This isn't to say that the final act is bad in any way, I just kinda wish it didn't feel as rushed as it did. It's definitely filled with the bloody kills and a showdown, but it's not nearly as impressive as the finale in the original Child's Play. To this movie's credit, I like the fact that Chucky was still made with practical effects throughout the movie. I think the design is a little silly in comparison to the original Chucky, but maybe they were just going for an overall uncanny valley look to it. If not, then I don't know why they chose this or came to this design decision, but here we are. Overall, Child's Play 2019 is a disappointment as a horror film and doesn't have much to laugh at if you're looking for a dark comedy like I was. I can appreciate its ambition to be something different from the original instead of fully following in the footsteps of it, but what it has to offer pales in comparison to anything the original did. If you're a huge fan of Chucky and or want to see a killer doll movie with a few laughs in it, you'll probably like it. However, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody else, and I'd say this is more of something to watch on Netflix late at night if anything. So yeah, a little birdie named Tupac told me to give this film a 4 out of 10, so that's what I'm gonna do.